Question I have for you is, what was your initial motivation for getting into it anyway?
Um, and like my first initial motivation was, so I actually remember the day you brought it to me. You came to, you and Zay came to my room, and then you were talking about, he was like, yeah man, I've been doing this thing for a while. I have my own strategy, right? And with my strategy I win more than I lose, and when I win, and when I do lose, I lose less money than I do when I win. And I was like, oh, like that sounds pretty, like you were describing like risk management and like correct risk management rules, but like I didn't know what that was at the time. I was like, oh, like he's got a way of making money, and he makes more money. Like he wins more often than he loses, and when he does lose, he loses less. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I sounds great to me, right? But then as I dove more into it, I saw it more as a vehicle to make money on my, like, kind of the laptop lifestyle thing. But I didn't want to just be one of those dudes on Instagram with a yacht and a Lambo and just chilling on the beach and stuff like that. I actually have stuff that I want to pursue, which is like professional soccer, which I'm currently still doing, and it would allow me to pursue something like that because it is a way to make money online. And
Right.
if I can do that from anywhere in the world, then it makes, it frees me up more in pursuing whatever I wanted to pursue.
Yeah. I think for me it was definitely it wasn't so much the making it from anywhere, but having a skill that you know, because my interest is definitely business, finance, all that kind of stuff. But I'm sure anybody in business knows it's you're completely at the whim of the market, and like you're at the whim of the market too as a trader. But like, what do I mean by that? Like, you need customers as a business. I don't need
Look at Matt.
anybody. Like, I don't need
Yeah,
anybody
look
but
at Matt.
myself. Yeah, like I don't need anybody but myself. You know what I mean? Like, for this, and this is a way to, when those other things aren't going well, because like I do want to start businesses. I'm those are things I'm trying to do. Learn more about it. Start buy businesses. All that good stuff, right? But when those things aren't going well, as they inevitably won't at some periods and some points, like this is something that I could have to, like I said, like nobody can take it away from me. Like it's a skill that I have, you know what I mean? And I can use it to maybe power up my business in some way. Like use it like we've talked about, like use it to buy ads or like use it to, do this for my business or something like that. You know what I mean? And it's just something where, like I said, nobody can take it from me. And I think that was like the initial motivation I had because I'm a very much I hate being withholden to somebody, like, but at the same time, kind of like with you, like when I got into it, like I realized it was kind of the best thing that I could possibly have, like in terms of like a mirror, because like I said, like even though I've been accountable with myself in terms of sports at that point was kind of no longer in my life. I had stopped playing soccer at that point, so it was like I kind of needed something else, and like trading was like that other thing. And then, not only do I have the benefit of being able to make money, but like, I can learn so many cool things about like the world because like I'm reading this book about like commodities trading right now, and it's so interested to see how like that affects the world and all that kind of stuff. And like I never would have had that introduction, had I not been, introduced through trading and all that kind of stuff, right? And so, yeah, I think it's just one of those things where I got into it, like D Hart said, for that independence. But I really kind of stayed when I saw how, I was honestly passionate about it. As that's what I talk about with Kayla a lot. Like, I try to do a lot of things. Me and D Hart, we talk about this all the time. We both have a bunch of stuff in the air, but like, I don't think I'm passionate about anything the way I'm passionate about trading. You know what I mean? Like, as bad as it can go sometimes, like I'm still gonna be like, oh, fuck it, I'm still gonna do some back testing today. I can't, like, I can't keep away from it, like that kind of stuff. So, yeah. So moving on, I think next question I would ask, because you actually answered my other one that I wanted to ask you. So here's a different one for you. Is there a lie that you possibly told yourself at the beginning that you feel like held you back from progressing where you needed to go?
Damn, that's a that's a good question. Is there a lie that held me back at the beginning? Um, I would say thinking. Oh, I mean, I hope this doesn't sound bad, but I've always been naturally pretty good at anything I've tried. So this was something I was like, oh, it's just gonna be easy. I got this. You know, like it's trading. It's just looking at a chart and seeing when it'll go up, when it'll go down. Like it can't be that hard. You know what I mean? Kind of overestimating my ability and how, maybe not overestimating my ability, but underestimating the beast that is trading. So
Yeah.
probably that.
Okay. I would definitely agree with that. I think that something I would say as well. I overestimated the timeline, you know, because I think with me, I had this idea that like, and I always had this idea in the back of my head when I was at school. I was gonna leave school, go get a job for a little bit of time for like a year to support myself, setting myself up for my trading, like setting up my trading in terms of the account size that I would need to be able to support myself and everything. And then after that year, I was gonna be able to quit and go do my own thing. But I think overestimating the timeline was a big one because it was like when I came out of school and I wasn't like prepared, I think that really fucked me up. You know what I mean? And then after that, like when I was like fucked up that first year, like it was hard to kind of get back on track. You know what I mean? And so I think I could definitely agree with that. Next one, last one in terms of a question. When were you the happiest in terms of your trading in your trading career?
I'll say two different points, because the first point when I was very happy trading was November of 2020. It was around the same time that the election was going on, so the markets were real volatile, and I had my bot trading and I was trading the ASFX style at the same time, and I was making hella money. That was like the first time that I was like, yo, like I can really like I physically remember like I looked at my phone and I made X amount of money and I was like, yo, like if things continually progress this way,
Right.
I can definitely support myself and my family trading
Right.
easily, like no problem, right? And that was a big eye-opening moment for me. Like obviously, you're not gonna be making hella money every single month, hella money every single week, every trade, right? But that was a moment in time when I was like, yo, like I really understood what trading could be for
Offer.
me,
Yeah.
like how I could support myself with it. And the second time was when I was I in Spain? I think I was in Spain. Yeah, I think it was last year, 2021. October, around the same time, October, November-ish, I was trading. I was trading my own strategy that I had just developed, and I was also playing soccer, right? So that was kind of the reason why I had stuck with trading as long as I wanted to.
Yeah.
The freedom that it provided me. So I was kind of living that out, right?
Yeah.
Obviously wasn't making enough to like completely support myself, but I was being paid from the team. I was getting a little from the trading, and it was enough for me to enjoy where I was at.
Yeah.
And it kind of like reaffirmed the quote unquote dream.
Right.
So I'd say that was another point.
Yeah. I think I would echo that. There were 2 points for me as well. I think first one, I was like trading the urban forex course at this point, and I've talked about this point before, and it's crazy how I've gone in such a big circle to try to get back to that point. You know what I mean? But it's like, as annoying as it's been, I think it was necessary because I think I've been reading this book called Trading Psychology 2.0 by Brett Steenbarger, and I've always been on this mind that like, or at least in the back of my mind, I've thought that like I shouldn't have moved away from that first strategy. You know what I mean? Like I should have never stopped trading it, blah blah, blah all this stuff, right? But in this book, what Brett Steenbarger talks about is like, if you try to keep a strategy and never move away from it, it's not going to go well because the market changes all the time. And like he kind of is like, traders are entrepreneurs, and like, entrepreneurs innovate all the time. You know what I mean? And like one thing that like a good entrepreneur once said is like, any business should try to put themselves out of business. Like,
Yeah.
it's that simple. Like, when you think of a product, it should be so scary to you that like, oh my god, that would fuck our whole product line up. Put that shit out. And like, you have to think that way all the time, right? And so it's like you might think that yes, it's important to do the same things and be disciplined and all that good stuff that people talk about in trading. But what's more important in trading is being adaptable and learning a bunch of different ways of being able to enter into the market and like express your views in different ways. You know what I mean? And like through different instruments, different way, like use different indicators, whatever. He's like, it's being adaptable because the market changes all the time. And so it's like, as annoying as getting away from that point is, where it was just like blind basically. Like I was literally just felt like I was just pressing a button every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I was just pressing a button, and most of the time I look at it at the end of the week or the end of the month, and I was like, I've made more than I've lost. Cool, awesome. Go back in, do the same thing the next week, next month, all that good shit. But at the same time, like I wasn't adapting at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I wasn't growing at all, and so, and I think about like I wouldn't even be able to think about doing the challenge account. Like that strategy wasn't returning enough in a month for me to pass the challenge, and like that's just the reality of the situation. You know what I mean?
Question for you.
Yeah.
Why do you think you were so successful back then with that strategy?
Because I think it was this idea of it was almost a healthy respect for what it was that I was doing. You know what I mean? Like I was so on my like. I remember it's in this one point, like for this period. There's one specific weekend that really sticks out for me. Is I had just gotten offered an internship at this company. It was going into summer of 2018. Yeah, so I just got offered an internship. Is that right? Whatever. No. Yes, it was because I just crossed. Yes, I was a junior.
Yeah.
I was a junior.
No, yeah, that was summer.
No, because
After
no, it was
going into summer 18. Yeah, going into summer 18.
no, it was going into summer 19. It was going to summer 19. But whatever, it's not that important. Yeah, it's not that important. Whatever. I was going to visit a company that had just made me an offer on an internship, right? So I had to like travel, and you know it was nice. Like you know they were paying for it, all this stuff, but I was making sure that I was, no matter what. Obviously, I had to go do the company stuff. You know what I mean? I knew I was gonna have to go do the company stuff, but my trading was always based around the morning anyway. So, because like you know I had my morning classes and stuff like that. So, you know, no matter what, I knew I was gonna be able to get my stuff done, and I made sure to get my stuff. Like I was religious about it, and like I'm very very good about getting my stuff done now, but it's just like I treated it with a different reverence almost. Like it's weird, you know what I mean? Like, and like there was just so much more of a healthy respect for what it was I was doing in terms of trading. Like I always felt like at any moment the market might slap me in the face and just like take my account. You know what I mean? And like there was no reason why I should have done that because I was using stop losses all the time, the same way I use stop losses now. You know what I mean? But like I was always scared of it, and like I haven't felt that way ever. Like, or not ever, but like in a long time. You know what I mean? Like I respect the idea that I need to be disciplined. I respect the idea that I need to trade a back-tested strategy. I respect the idea that I need to, you know, practice risk management, stop losses, all that good stuff, right? But like I don't think I respect trading in the same reverence because it's like I wanted to get over that fear of it, you know what I mean? And like I think that like getting over the fear kind of turned to hubris, and then I got humbled, you know, and then like I had to deal with getting humbled for that first time in trading, you know.
I think that's with anything though. That's kind of like when people, like let's say you met a celebrity, right? Somebody you look up to. At first, for the first X amount of time that you guys have a friendship or relationship or whatever, mentee relationship, it's going to be reverence. But as that continues, you get more and more used to it, so it becomes regular. You know what I mean? Like you're no longer revering that thing, that person.
Yeah.
They're kind of just a guy to you, a
Yeah.
person. That's one of your friends now. You know what I mean? It's kind of like regression to the mean. Like you give them so much reverence and respect at the beginning, but after a while, after you've done it for a while, after you've hung out with them for a while, you realize that they're just a regular person, and I don't want to say you kind of take it for granted, but you kind of do.
Yeah. And I think as well, there was also a period of just like, and I think we were talking about this before we started, like, just self belief, man. Like, at that point, it was really almost like, why not? You know? Like, and I try to tell myself that all the time. I try to tell myself that every day. Like Jim Rohn said this shit. He's like, I want you to ask yourself these 4 questions every single day. And they're very, very simple. Why? Meaning, why do you do what you're doing? Why not? Why aren't you doing these other things? Also, why can't you do what you want to do? Right? Why not me? Why can't I do that? Why can't I have the dreams that I want to have? And then why not now? Like, why can't, what's stopping me? Right? Because, like, when I was talking about, again, like the self belief thing that we were talking about before, I was talking to Kayla earlier and I was like, I think the thing that fucks me up the most is that I've done all this learning. I've, grown all this much. And while I still respect so much that I have so much more learning to do, right? Like I look up to people like Akil or Mark Hutchinson or anybody who's been in the market for like more than 10 years. I have so much to learn compared to those guys, right? I completely respect that. But at the same time, there are people out here living my quote unquote trading dreams in terms of like passing these challenges and, just supporting themselves through trading. And they have less experience than I do. The only difference between me and them is they fucking believe in themselves, you know? They have this idea of like, why the fuck can't they do it? And like, as simple as that is to hear, it's not as easy to just practice that shit. And I think that that's something that like I'm struggling with right now, and so, kind of like that being said, like, I think it's also, interesting to see how still there was like another point where I was like also, yo, you still there? Oh my God. Yo. Dart. You hear me?
Yeah.
My internet cut out. That was me. My internet cut out. Yeah. What was the last thing you heard me say?
It was about self belief.
Yeah, but basically saying like, it tears me up sometimes seeing people, hit the goals that I want to hit in trading. And I know they have less experience than I do, but they just believe in themselves. You know what I mean? And like, that's one thing that I've been trying to deal with, but at the same time, can be difficult. So yeah, I think that's the biggest difference between where I was at that point when I was just pressing the button. It was just almost this idea of like, I think Akil Stokes put it perfectly, where he was like, could a kid be a better trader than a professional? And he was like, I think in a way, yes, because a kid would like approach it from like, I don't really care. Like, I'm going to be all right. Like, why not? Like, it's going to happen. Like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I think that's kind of the biggest thing in terms of difference. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I think self belief has a very big.
I think I'm realizing now it's the only thing. It's really the only thing in this game. Like,
and honestly, whatever you do.
yeah, like, because, like I said, like, you don't have to know the concepts that I know to make money. I know a lot. I know concepts that I feel like I'm very accurate in my analysis, but my analysis isn't the problem. You know what I mean?
You could be successful with support and resistance. You find support. When it comes to that area, you click the button, it goes up, you sell. Like,
yeah,
you can do that over and over and over and make money.
Right. But you just have to believe that shit. And when things start going wrong, still actually believe that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's where I'm like, and it's not so much that I'm actively telling myself like, oh, I have to change, but I'm realizing I wasn't making the type of mistakes that I'm making now back then. Why? Because it's like I don't believe in myself. And like, what do I mean by that? Like, me not believing in myself is me telling myself this is the most important trade in the world because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the next one. Whereas like back then, like I was telling myself like this isn't the most important trade in the world because there's going to be a next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like there's the difference. But it's like you say it doesn't mean it's that easy, and that's something that like I think I'm trying to work on, like just kind of get.
I think I will say though, I think though that you probably are feeling that way partly because of you're taking the challenge account, because like with the challenge account you have to hit a certain number to pass.
Right.
So like
in a certain time.
It might not even in a certain time, right? So
Right.
if if you don't get this one, then that's one less. Then that's that much less time that you have to hit that goal, right? So that's probably
Yeah.
why, and it makes sense. Like
Right.
logically, it makes sense. It tracks. Like each trade is going to be much more valuable if you
Yeah.
can only take, like, let's say you can only fit 100 trades into that time frame. If you miss the first 20, now you only got 80 that you got to make work. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that makes sense.
Yeah. And see that, but that's the problem is like that's as much as it makes sense, it still can't operate from that mode. You know what I mean? Because it's like operating
And
from that mode is what's
that's
going to
the
cause you
beauty of
to,
trading.
yeah. Operating from that mode is what's going to cause you to fat finger a stop loss. You know what I mean? Fat finger an entry because you're so focused on this trade, this trade, this trade because exactly like you're saying. Because like for example, like I talked about, I ended up the day break even, basically no change in my account. And the first thing that I said to you was like, I basically wasted the day. You're like, oh, you didn't waste the day. Like you learned something, like because you like fat finger the stop loss, so you learned, right? But it's like at the same time, exactly like you're saying, like now these other trades have become more important because now I only have 29 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I really have to make sure that I'm on my shit. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I get you. Like it's tough, but at the same time, like that's like you're saying, like that's the essence of it. Like that's what makes it so difficult. But like at the same time, I love doing the amount of money. Like I had a goal. I was like, I want to make 8% out of this sample size in less than a month, and I hit that shit in trading. I was like, oh fuck yeah! Like that shit feels great. You know what I mean? Because like you did some shit like that in trading, which is super super difficult. But it's like, yeah, it's not always gonna feel like that. You know?
I mean, that's part of the reason why I like programming, because like that shit is hard. Like there will be so many bugs, so many things. Like everything can look perfect, and then it still doesn't look the way you want it to look. And then all of a sudden you figure out one thing and it works, and then you're on top of the world. You know what I mean? Like it's the same type of feeling. And
Yeah.
I completely understand that.
Yeah. All right. So finish it out. We're gonna just quickly go through 8 steps to getting started trading live. Right. So